Hello, everybody. Thank you so very much for watching. It's probably just around midnight as this episode that is recorded live will be premiering. It's currently the 22nd day of April, 2022. Again, thank you for watching. A lot of things going on, and we're going to try to get through things as quickly as we possibly can. We begin with Raymond Spencer, Fairfax, Virginia, 23-year-old. He was a suspected shooter in Washington, D.C. earlier this afternoon. 4 people were shot, including a child. Actually have a couple of clips of the audio. And this tower right here, I point that out because the next video has the same tower visible in the back. There was some question whether this was actually from Washington, D.C. earlier today, because it was filmed by Arab students. So when it first came out, it was questioned as whether it was legit, and it was eventually proven to be true and backed up with second set of shots. 3 people were 3 adults were shot and a child was shot. All of them are expected to survive. The suspect shot himself in his apartment. According to police, quote, "We believe suspect took his own life as Metro Police Department members were entering or breaching the apartment where the suspect was located, and they are not looking for another suspect." That happened today in Washington, D.C. Also today in Washington, D.C., someone tried to set themselves on fire on the steps of the Supreme Court. Things just get crazier and crazier. And all of this was in about a 2-hour period. This is from earlier this evening. J.D. Vance is expected to get the endorsement of Donald Trump tomorrow at a rally in Ohio. And this was his rally earlier today. I don't know if it's a statement on the Trump endorsement. I don't know if it's a statement on the candidate. I will say that yesterday, one of his opponents had conservative outsider. I like that. He calls everybody else an elite, and he graduated from Yale Law School and has about, I don't know, $7 or $8 million. So yeah, everybody else is elite. Remember, you're either conning somebody into serving you, or you're being served, or you're serving somebody by being conned. And more eyes are becoming open as things progress. Yes, we're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yes, we're going to talk about Madison Cawthorn. And of course, Kevin McCarthy. I mentioned Trump's going to be at a rally tomorrow. It's going to be in Ohio. We will be, I'm going to broadcast it live, just the Trump part, not the entire rally. And one of the reasons I'm going to be broadcasting it is because, as you can see, there are 93 people currently waiting over here in this chat. for the event to start tomorrow. The broadcast starts at noon. I'm guessing 7 or 8 p.m. by the time he comes on to speak. And so if you're on YouTube, hit the notification bell so you know when we're on. Otherwise, if you're on Twitter or Facebook or one of the other platforms, just kind of be on the lookout, I guess. And if I find out what time I'm going to be on for sure, I'll make sure and post it. But one of the, I decided for some unknown reason, I would go back up through this chat and just see what these people were talking about. Some of the things they're talking about, there's a person in here from Brazil and another person from Belgium, and they're discussing the line of secession in case something happens to Trump. Now, as crazy as everything else is, we have to always keep in mind that as small as this group may actually be relatively, they are very ill-informed and they are very dangerous. Why do I say those things? They think that a state of emergency has been declared, and they're the only ones that know about it. They have their own constitution, and as far as they're concerned, the guy you're seeing right here is president. Okay, it goes a bit further than that. The guy you see right here, he walks around all the time, either in a suit or in a shirt that says president, and he has cabinet meetings. Okay, at Mar-a-Lago, he has cabinet meetings. Yeah. I just, the delusion, and it's not just his delusion, it's delusion. It's almost like a small mass psychosis. Again, I think the people were brainwashed by Russian propaganda through artificial intelligence, the QAnon people. You know, I don't make any, I'm not shy about saying those things, and I've proved it on videos on here in the past. So they are waiting. The whole point of me being here this long is they are waiting. I'm not exactly sure where it's at, and I'm not going to go through the whole chat. But not only do they talk about secession, they talk about Don Jr. is a cocaine head, and you know he can't be in the line of secession. So you know who's going to next, and again, these are people that are not even Americans, and it's just it's incredibly odd. You know why? Why? But one of the Americans up at the top, before the foreigners started trying to dictate how things were going to be here, one of the people at the top said the code is 1776 freedom. If he says that, then that's the call to arms. That's the call to rise up. And the QAnon videos, it's time to take revenge. I'm not even sure what that charade is. But they are all calling for action. They're very upset over what they're calling, you know, the rhinos, the fake Republicans, and that's anybody that's not Trump or Trump endorsed. So if they are called to arms, the Republicans that Trump doesn't like are probably should probably consider themselves the first targets. The first thing he would do if he actually tries a coup is to get rid of anybody not loyal to him. And we're learning more and more and more how many people actually aren't loyal to him. maybe somebody gets through to him and tells him, look, you don't have enough actual support to try this. I sure hope so, because otherwise there will be problems here in the United States that shouldn't be here. Because we're going to have enough legitimate other problems, including this virus is not over. Okay. The virus is not over. And the numbers keep going up. New cases, 73,000, 14,000 of them required hospitalization. 799 people died. The averages are going up. New cases going up 4,000. Hospitalizations 24, and number of deaths right now 14 more a day, every day. They're just going to keep multiplying, and this is not normally when this happens. Normally we're getting into a period when the virus is declining, but this thing is mutating. There's several different variants, and I'm wasting my breath, I know, because people have already decided it's a crock of hooey, or they've already decided, yeah, we hear you, we've heard you. But people keep saying, keep talking about it, because somebody might hear you that changes their opinion and it saves their life. So we're going to keep bringing it up. I came on last night because there was a fire at the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And actually, I think I've got footage of that. I don't know if I have it saved or not, but it's been a real point of contention. And it's gotten to the point now that the United Nations is asking for, the United Nations is considering sending peacekeepers in, just to make sure things stay stable. Palestinians are basically throwing rocks and shooting fireworks at the Israelis, and the Israelis come in with rubber-tipped bullets. We've shown what those, they're not actually rubber bullets. They got like a rubber coating over the metal, like it's going to be less deadly. Yeah, let's watch this. Again, it's Ramadan, the holy month in the Muslim faith. The idea of United Nations peacekeepers on the surface is like, come on. But I really believe that this can spiral into there you see the fire. We were watching from a different angle last night, and we couldn't tell what was on fire, just that it was getting worse and worse. Israel is dropping tear gas by drones now, and caught trees on fire. CNN 3 hours ago finally caught up to us. 8 weeks ago, I started talking about the dangers of kids at the border getting exploited or even trafficked. CNN starting to bring it up now that, people have tried to go in there and just take kids, and we reported on it, and it's a problem everywhere. And for some reason, not enough attention is ever paid to it, in my opinion. Again, the COVID thing, just because we've been talking about China for the COVID reason and for the supply chain reason, in Shanghai, officials have announced more lockdown measures in an attempt to rein in the COVID outbreak, which has paralyzed China's financial hub for more than a month. Some entire communities will be temporarily shifted in order to disinfect all their homes. This is something much different as far as how serious this disease is that they have over there. Okay. And I fear for it because so many people aren't vaccinated, and so many people aren't going to wear a mask. And if what's going on over there, that the police are in PP protective wear, I forget what the thing, PPE, I think. Let's just pray it doesn't hit here. We got another video of the fire at Alask that happened late night our time, early morning their time. This is, I mentioned earlier, another event that happened in DC today, happened about 4 hours ago. They're reporting a man reportedly burst into flames. Okay, that's not what happened. The guy tried to light himself on fire, and they stopped him and put the fire out. That's him laying down there. Here, man has set himself on fire on the steps of the Supreme Court. I've got this up here because I was a school teacher. I was a teacher and coach the first 4 years out of college. Loved coaching. I coached for 9 years. And I got out of teaching. And but I have tremendous respect for especially public school teachers and all that they put up and all they go through. And for this guy, this I don't know, that I'm beginning to think that they get away with all this stuff because they're protected by something evil. Trump's been around now politically for about 6.5 years. So if he made a 7-year deal with the devil, his time's almost up. I'm not saying that's what happened or anything. I'm just speculating. And this guy would be worse. That's purely my opinion. That's not anything other than that. But this bill is going to intimidate every teacher in the state of Florida at every level. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to intimidate every teacher? Well, because you're a fascist. Because that's what fascists do. They try to intimidate everybody. There wasn't any problem with Disney down there until Disney said, no, we're not going to give you any more campaign contributions. That's when the problem happened. It wasn't a problem before. It was manufactured in order to suppress, to try to get people not to be who they are, but to conform who this white supremacist and many others. And not all Republicans are like that. At least I sure hope not. But it's up to you. It's no longer up to us to decide which of you are which. You know, you're only about 33% of the country. Whether you like to hear that or not, that's the facts. You're only about 33% of the country. And maybe 25 to 30% of that is the whack job QAnon disturbed people. Just something to think about. Speaking of Republican child molesters, I wasn't, but I do quite often on here because they keep popping up. Son of a far right group leader charged with child sex abuse. Richard Solomon Mack. I haven't run the name yet to see what ties he has, but his father is the founder of the second largest militia in the United States, the Constitutional Sheriff and Peace Officers Association. They were number one, and then they were number one, the Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and then the NFAC. And NFAC Grandmaster Jay, the leader of NFAC, has his jury trial beginning Monday, this coming week on the 25th. And we'll be reporting on that. And I'm certainly hoping that he gets a fair trial. And I'm personally remembering that he's up for the same charges as the police officer that was part of murdering Breonna Taylor. And so we'll see if similar rulings apply. And I certainly hope they do. Okay. Morgan Ortagus and Robbie Starbuck were kicked off the ballot in Tennessee by the Republican Party because they aren't Republicans because they're not from Tennessee. Most states or many states have a rule that in order to be on the ballot, you have to vote in the primary of that party. Otherwise, the party has absolutely, because the parties are private, okay? You really don't have a right to be on the ballot because the parties are private. They're not public institutions. They're private enterprises. And you can believe that or not. A little bit of research will show you that it's true. And anyway, here's what this guy had to say. And this is why I said earlier, Republicans are going to be the ones that have to fear if Trump gives, if Trump gives the Proud Boy sign, if Trump gives the white supremacy, the KKK sign, if he does any of that garbage, or if he says, since we know the code now, if he says 1776 freedom, be on the lookout. And Republicans should be the ones on the lookout first. But listen to what this guy says.
But to weed out Trump-backed candidates and conservatives. That's the Tennessee GOP wants nothing to do with conservatives or President Trump.
Now, this guy's trying to lump them both together. Conservatives and Trumpers are one and the same, okay? We'll find out if they are in due time.
He wants nothing to do with conservatives or President Trump.
It's hard to take anything else from this if they're getting rid of us. We're the ones that I think President Trump, we have the closest relationship with the Trump family. Donald Trump Jr. tweeted out yesterday in defense of myself and Morgan saying they need to be on the ballot, period. The idea that we're not Republicans is frankly not just condescending to the voters, but it's honestly disgusting with all the work that I've done. Morgan is my opponent, but she's done a lot of work for President Trump. You can't just pretend we're not Republicans. The way America's supposed to work is we let the voters decide. We put this to them and we trust them. And essentially what the GOP and the state executive committee is telling our voters in District 5 is, we don't trust you. And if you break that down even more, it's, we don't trust you because you're either stupid or dangerous. And I'm not sure which they believe our voters are.
Both. You're stupid and dangerous. You're stupid and dangerous. You've believed Tucker Carlson for all this time when he's been hiding he's gay, and now that it's starting to come out, you guys are getting all upset about it. And that just there's nothing wrong with it. Okay. The only thing wrong with it is he's been hiding it from you all this time. He's been hypocritical. He's been lying to you. And here's, speaking of which, here's Madison Cawthorn in drag and hoop earrings, having cocktails. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. You know, obviously he found out where the Washington, D.C. Republican cocaine orgies were. You know, there's nothing wrong with him dressing in drag. There's nothing wrong with him putting on hoop earrings. There's nothing wrong with any of this except for the hypocrisy, except for the lying, except for the fact that you are nothing like you represent yourself to the public. That's called a con. Come on. Wake up, conservatives. I know you're conservative because you want the country run like a business. How'd that work for you with Trump? Some of you made a lot of money in the stocks. A lot of you realized, wait a minute, this guy could potentially kill me. And some of my friends, he almost did. Some of my friends got so sick they almost died because he told everybody else not to take it serious while he himself was taking it serious the whole time. He's vaccinated, he's boosted. He was one of the first to do it. He almost died. They had to rush him to Bethesda Naval Hospital because he almost died from it. And now he acts like he doesn't care whether his supporters get vaccinated or not. And that says a lot about him, and it says a lot about a lot of them like that. They're telling lies. They're just, and they're doing it just to better themselves. And there's an oath that public servants are supposed to take and go by, but these aren't public servants. These are all self-servant clowns. And I so much want to feel sorry for this kid, but I can't. He puts himself in these situations with these holier than thou stuff. You know, how many, we show something on him just about every night. A couple episodes ago, it was he got pulled over in his truck and he's driving with an invalid license. Before that, he got pulled over, he was drunk, didn't have a license. Anyway, this isn't, like I said, let your freak flag fly, dude. I don't care. I'm not hounding him because of what he's doing. It's the fact that he tries to tell people how to live their lives. When he does stuff like this, it's hypocritical. It's a lie. And this isn't even the worst. The worst thing to me was him, and we showed this on the show, and I'm going to show it again for you new viewers. Hello, thank you for watching. The worst thing was his dream, his number one thing on the bucket list was go to Hitler's summer house. And he got to do it. And he recreated himself in the exact same pose as Hitler. They're fascists. Wake up. All of us, wake up. They're going to tell you who they are. Believe them when they do. Speaking of scumbag slime balls, Alex Jones. His bankruptcy is sinister, the Sandy Hook family's lawyers say. I said this as soon as I heard about it. I said, the guy's not broke. The guy's trying to get out from paying what he did to those parents of those kids that were massacred when he, for his own glorification, presented it as a false flag that none of it ever happened, and drug up all that misery again for those parents. You support this guy, please do not ever watch my channel. Thank you. Bye. Now we talked about China. And COVID. Here's what they are. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not sure what that music is, but we're not going to try to get a copyright violation. I've said that it's something else. And I think it might be bird flu. I think it might be bird flu has become transmissible in humans. I sure hope not, because it's incredibly deadly. And even those of us that are vaccinated at the moment for COVID would be susceptible. So I certainly hope that's not what the case is. But we mentioned earlier, in case you're just joining us, we mentioned earlier, China's moving whole neighborhoods out to disinfect the entire area. And one of the things they're doing is this. They're disinfecting the streets with lime. I don't know. I've talked to some medical people, and absolutely none of them, not a single one of them said, yeah, COVID could be on the pavement. Now, they did say that, checking sewer water will help potentially target areas that might see increases. I don't know how they figured that out. I haven't really looked at it too close to verify it. I'm just kind of like, okay, well, my concern is what's going on here in China at the moment, that they're throwing lime out on the streets and moving people out to totally disinfect their houses. I haven't talked about Ukraine and Russia. Still very much going on. It is Easter weekend over there, and the hopes were that there might be ceasefires. Speaking of fires, in Russia, at least 5 locations, individuals set military registration and enlistment offices on fire. A peculiar development amid the ongoing spring military conscription campaign. They're trying to draft people into the Russian army, and word is filtering back what is really going on in Ukraine, and the truth is coming out. And not only are they firebombing places where they have to go to either be drafted or they go to enlist, but they are also firebombing other locations, or somebody is. This was Matt Gaetz at Marjorie Taylor Greene's hearing today, and you'll notice he has on a bulletproof vest. Some are saying that there's something going on between Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they're together all the time. And he's afraid Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband is going to shoot him. Hey, it's 2022, normally I would go, ha, 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 but it's 2022. And I'm like, okay, that's completely feasible. If you guys have got that information, I don't follow them that close. I mentioned earlier that Israeli forces were dropping tear gas from drones on Al-Aqsa Mosque complex, and a couple of trees that caught fire. Video of them actually, video of them caught in the act. And it's going to be tense. And I'm afraid all of our focus, well, mine hasn't been tonight, but a lot of our focus is on what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, and how that could turn. Things can escalate here quickly, and a lot of other countries can get drawn into what's going on in the Holy Land. including the United States, Russia, Iran. It's just, I hope the UN can go in there and make a difference, but come on, it's the UN. And we're talking about fires in Russia. There were two very suspicious fires yesterday. One of them, and we talked about it last night in the episode, one of them where they built the SAM missiles, the surface to air missiles. The other one was where they were making chemicals. And this one is this is the third in 2 days. And this is at the their Air and Space Center. Okay, this is where this is their NASA, basically. Okay, it's Roscosmonov, I think is what it's called. Roscosmov, I believe. Roscosmosov. But this is like their NASA, and it was either set on fire. Russia is saying that the buildings had old wiring, and that's why all three of the buildings caught on fire. All three are integral parts of their military industrial complex. So to think that they would have three accidents there is a bit coincidental. As Ewan says here, it's getting a bit suspicious. And people are saying, okay, what, is this, is just Ukraine doing this? Is this being done within Moscow and within Russia? Or is this really just their crap is that old and dilapidated that stuff's breaking down at the absolute worst time? Talked about this last night, and I showed the clip of him holding on to the desk the entire time, and the look on his face. And somebody said, yeah, it wasn't the whole time. Well, this is a time lapse here. We've talked on here before that either liver or kidney cancer, thyroid cancer, all of this together, either kidney or liver cancer, plus thyroid cancer, plus Parkinson's disease, and holding onto the table the whole time so he doesn't tremble, his foot constantly. That could be restless leg syndrome, I guess, if there is such a thing. They sell drugs for it anyway. My ex-wife used to buy a bunch of them. He taps his foot quite a bit during this, and just from the looks of the guy, looks like he's in pain the whole time. And again, let's see what the comment was. Putin was not looking well at all. People have particularly noted his hunched position and the fact he never let go of the table during the entire 12-minute meeting. So this guy's already been as ruthless as you could possibly imagine. And if he's on the way out, as far as departing Earth, let's hope he doesn't decide he's going to take everybody else with him. We played this last night, and another one came out today. I'm going to replay this.
Liz, you on the phone?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Kevin. I guess first a question, when we were talking about the 25th.
Of course, it would recycle.
Liz, you on the phone?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Kevin. I guess first a question, when we were talking about the 25th Amendment resolution, and you asked if you know what happens if it gets there after he's gone, is there any chance, are you hearing that he might resign? Is there any reason to think that might happen?
I've had a few discussions. My gut tells me no. I'm seriously thinking of having a conversation with him tonight. I haven't talked to him in a couple days. From what I know of him, I mean, you guys all know him too. Do you think he'd ever back away? But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to call him. This is what I think. No, it'll pass the House. I think there's a chance it'll pass the Senate even when he's gone. And I think there's a lot of different ramifications for that. Now, I haven't had a discussion with the Dems that if he did resign, would it not happen? Now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversation about him partying. I mean, the only discussion.
Okay, basically, Trump's hearing all this stuff too. And when he says he don't want to, Pence can't pardon him. Okay. The idea is they were trying to remove him from politics for good, get him to resign instead of being impeached. And that way he would go into the legal system, and kicking the can down the road is what they're trying to do. And now this guy's coming out, and this is, there have been 2 tapes released, and they said they've got a bunch of tapes. And I'm assuming that includes the ex-president. So these people are getting their backs backed against the wall, and the Bannon and Roger Stone and all the Trump trumpeters, they want this guy tarred and feathered and hung out to dry. So that's why I said earlier, if he does give the go sign for them to rise up, this guy and guys like him will be some of the first that need to really beware. And I don't, I know they're taking it serious. I know those of us that watch this, a few of us are taking it serious that they might actually do this. The majority of the country won't have a clue what's happening. And that in itself is terrifying. So let's see what else was said here. Okay, this was
This is what I think. It'll pass the House. I think there's a chance it'll pass the Senate even when he's gone. And I think there's a lot of different ramifications for that. Now, I haven't had a discussion with the Dems that if he did resign, would it not happen? Now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversation about him partying. I mean, the only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation you should do that.
You sorry ass Republican sons of bitches.
This is the Texas guy we've had on here a time or two. The last time we had him on, it was when Republican governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, was stopping the supply chain at the Texas border. And the reason I'm having this guy on here is because he speaks for a lot of the people that were conned, okay, and they're pissed.
Never, I'm sitting here drinking a cup of coffee, having my free continental breakfast in the hotel, trying to enjoy my Fruit Loops, but no, open up the phone, first thing I see is Kevin fucking McCarthy, lying, sorry ass, dirtbag piece of shit. TikTok say how fucked up is fucked up. You're getting the noise. I'm out here standing by the road so nobody else can hear me cuss. But you haven't seen TikTok how fucked up is fucked up. Well, Liz Cheney is the most honest person in the Republican Party, and that's fucked up.
That's a fact right there, my man. Liz Cheney's the most honest person in the Republican Party, and that's fucked up. Liz Cheney's dad is Darth Cheney. Okay. Liz Cheney's dad was George W. Bush's vice president. Liz Cheney's dad was in charge of everything during George W. Bush's presidency, and he wouldn't die. He kept having heart attacks, and now he's got like this bionic heart. He's Darth Cheney. And his daughter is the most honest person in the Republican Party.
I mean, my God, you know, Kevin McCarthy's been running around, running his mouth. I never talked to Trump. I didn't say shit to Trump. No. January 6th insurrection, I didn't talk to him. Not at all. Now, here's the fucking tapes of him talking to Liz Cheney, where he's talking to Trump about, you need to resign because this impeachment's going to pass. You know, I mean, what kind of chicken shit? I mean, somebody help me out with this here. I mean, does anybody in the Republican Party have a goddamn spine? Anybody? Sorry.
Maybe Adam Kissinger. I don't know yet. So we got one final story here. Throughout the day today, Marjorie Taylor Greene, actually for about 3 hours total, off and on, Marjorie Taylor Greene had a lot of questions put to her. Most of her responses were, I don't remember, or I'm not sure, or somebody else might have posted that. And each time after she'd say that, they would show, you know, proof that she was lying. Do I think she's going to be charged, or do I think she's going to be taken off the ballot? No. I think she did a tremendous amount of damage to herself, though, in the future, when the January 6th thing really starts to roll and her name starts getting dropped from all sides. You know, she might as well put the scapegoat bell around her neck right now and start claiming victimhood, because Trump's going to say that it was her. The Proud Boys are going to say it was her. The Oath Keepers are going to say that it was her. Kevin McCarthy's going to say it was her. Everybody's going to be saying it was her. And she's incriminated herself in this. Why do I say that? Because there's a big difference between I plead the fifth and I don't know. I plead the fifth, there's nothing there except you pleading the fifth, and it appears you're guilty as hell. But technically, you have not said anything that potentially identifies you. By taking the tack she took and saying, I don't know, I don't remember, somebody else might have done it. I don't even know if I have a Twitter account. I don't know what's on my Facebook page. All she has done is set herself up. She may be on the, I don't expect her to lose this case. I expect her to be on the ballot. You know, I don't think a judge in Georgia is going to say, no, you're disqualified. You started an insurrection. I think it was probably proven that she was a participant in an insurrection today, but I don't think that's the way the judge is going to rule. And I think she'll be on the ballot. However, depending on how intense the January 6th thing gets, somebody's going to be taking the fall. Okay. Tricky Dick Nixon during Watergate, he went home. All right. He went home. Agnew quit early. Jerry Ford, suddenly president of the United States, never elected to hold the office or to hold the vice presidency. But other people went to jail. I don't know. You think Senator Mike Lee's going to go to jail, or Senator Tom Cotton or Ted Cruz? And by the way, a couple of things I'm really thankful for. We saw Madison Cawthorn in drag earlier. And again, you know, nothing wrong with him doing that. Let your freak flag fly. Just don't, you know, the fact you're hypocritical about it, and the fact that you're Nazis, what really bothers me more. But George Takei, shortly after his 85th birthday, said he was just thankful, and I agreed with him, that it wasn't Ted Cruz in the lingerie and hoop earrings. So here's a little bit of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Ms. Greene, this is the tweet that we talked about a little bit earlier. Just a quick question on it. We issued this on December 19th, 2020, correct? Maybe we can make it a little larger. And what you were doing in this tweet was you were tweeting out a story from the Epic Times about President Trump saying that the protests that were planned for January 6th were going to be, quote, wild, right? Right there, under the picture of President Trump. Yes, it says Trump supporters should join wild protest in DC on Jan 6th.
Okay, this guy right here, by the way, is this is her lawyer. His name's Boop, B-O-P-P. Most of you have probably never heard of him. Most of you might not have heard of Citizens United. That's where the dark money started flowing into campaigns. This is the guy that was responsible for that. This is the guy that got Citizens United through the Supreme Court. Citizens United, by the way, says that corporations have personhood. Corporations are people, and therefore they have a voice, and it is a violation of the First Amendment if you do not allow them to spend as much money as they want on a campaign, because money is speech. Now, as crazy as all that sounds, that's the law now. Check it out, Citizens United.
A little larger response.
Say it's all right.
All right. Anyway, no, nothing, you know, as far as nothing as far as blockbuster testimony, or, you know, she ratted Trump out or nothing like that. She did. She said she didn't believe QAnon, and QAnon was a joke, so they won't be happy with that. But they'll, you know, chances are they'll figure out some way to make it into a positive. Yeah, they're stupid and they're dangerous, just like that former congressional candidate from Tennessee said. So thank you all for watching. And again, this isn't going to be posted at midnight now. It's going to be sometime early Saturday morning, because we're almost at midnight now recording this. And I'm going to be up for a while monitoring what's going on, because it's just becoming daylight in the Holy Land and in Eastern Europe. So keep an eye on what's going on there as we go from Friday to Saturday of Easter week over there, and as we begin the first weekend here. And I'll be back tomorrow night. We'll be doing a live broadcast following what the ex-president of the United States says, and just to make sure he doesn't give some kind of wacky, you know, order for people to rise up. If he does, we're going to want to know about it first. And thanks for watching. I love you all. See you next time.